Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran's pair of bouts within a span of just 5 months in 1980 were considered instant classics, but the two words spoken in the second of their battles has created a mysteriousness that lingers to this day. 30 for 30, No Mas, presented by Buick, tonight at 8 on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. Earlier today on Sportscenter, Jay Crawford spoke with Sugar Ray about those fights and much more.
Ray, great to see you. No Mas was the middle of the 3 fights that you had with Roberto Duran. He won the first in a split decision. The rematch happened just 5 months after the first fight. What kind of buildup was there, Ray, leading up to that second fight?
Well, it was an enormous buildup. After that first fight, which was brutal, I mean, beyond reality, I took my wife to Hawaii to just cool down and cool out. But while I was there, I was running on the beach, and all of a sudden I'm feeling that I could do this again. I should do this again. I should get my title back. And I called Mike Trainer, my attorney, and I said, Mike, I want to fight Roberto Duran again ASAP. Because I also knew that between fights, he would blow up to heavyweights. I mean, he would go from 147 to 200 pounds. It was that on top of, I wanted to fight my fight, to use my hand speed, to use my boxing ability, to be mobile, and I knew it would be a different story.
Ray, what were your personal thoughts of Roberto, and what did he think of you?
You know, I hated Duran, and that's a bad word. I make sure I tell my kids never to use the word hate because of what it says, because of what it means. I despise the man. Roberto Duran was something I never experienced before. I mean, he, with hand gestures, grabbing himself and cursing me or cursing my wife, he did some things that were just unimaginable or unthinkable. He got under my skin, yes, and it did work because I wanted to beat him at his own game in Montreal, the first fight, which proved to be not smart.
He got personal with you, and you were handling Duran in that second fight. You even taunted him throughout the fight. What do you remember most, Ray, about what happened in New Orleans in that ring?
What happened was so spontaneous, extemporaneously. I mean, when I was doing these moves and these herky jerk and these antics, I heard the fans or the audience laughing louder and louder and louder, and the more they laughed, the more I did it. And then I saw a reaction in Roberto Duran's face, like, what is this? I mean, I don't think he understood what was going on. And I truly believe he threw his hands up in frustration without realizing the ramifications it would have on his career or legacy.
There certainly was no shortage of theories as to what exactly happened, what led him to walk away. What were people writing, what were people saying after the fight?
Well, the first person that jumped into the ring was my brother Roger. He said, Ray, he quit. And, you know, after Duran made those gestures with his hands of no, 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 I mean, that was pretty much, you know, the game. I mean, Duran did this, which to me indicates I don't want it anymore. But it was such a time period or time stuck, and because no one knew. It was so bizarre that no one knew what the heck was going on.
No Mas tortured Duran. There's no doubt about it, and the documentary does a terrific job at showing exactly how it affected him. But what I learned that I didn't know when I watched the documentary was how it affected you. What impact did Duran quitting that night have on you and on your career?
Well, I thought it was great because I won my title back. I beat the great Roberto Duran, but it was more so about why he quit as opposed to that I made him quit. And that bothered me for a number of years, well, I should say a lot of years, because when you hear Roberto Duran quit, you hear, well, he quit. No, I made him quit. And I think that's the reason we did this documentary, or this movie, I should say. And Eric Draft did an amazing job of putting the two of us together, which was not easy, in the ring. And we asked each other questions that we normally would not ask.
Well, that clearly is the crescendo of the film, is you traveling to Panama for the first time, and you meet face-to-face with Roberto Duran. And I'll get to the actual meeting in just a second. But first, I want to know, from your standpoint, what was that like for you to... And the meeting was in a boxing ring. What was it like for you to step into a ring with Roberto Duran and stare him face-to-face 33 years after your No Mas fight?
I'm glad you asked that question, because if you look at his eyes and look at my eyes, you can see the uneasiness of both of us. It was not comfortable. I mean, here's a man who tried to knock my block off, and I tried to damage him myself. And 33 years later, we stand in the ring looking at each other with respect, but not knowing for sure what would come out each other's mouth. That was a weird situation and a very uncomfortable and awkward situation.
I won't ask you what he said, because I really think sports fans need to watch this to find out. But I will ask you this. Were you satisfied with the answers that he gave?
They were quite interesting. And, you know, I've been sober for 7 years, and I've learned to surrender. Because until you surrender, you're never going to get the real answer. That being said, I'm also a survivor, adult survivor of sexual child abuse. And until I surrendered, I was being tortured for 40-some years. All these things are about surrendering. And that being said, did Duran surrender? Well, tonight you'll see.
I know in the film that you said it doesn't matter anymore what you think happened that night. But everyone is curious, because you were the only other boxer in the ring that night. What do you think really happened that night in the Superdome?
I think the frustration, humiliation, the laughter, all those things were factors, I believe, like that punch, by the way, which was one of my favorite punches. I think those things just totally short-circuited Roberto Duran's mind.
He certainly was a proud fighter, known for giving it his all in the ring, but not on that night, the night he said no mas. A couple of things, Sugar Ray. First of all, you look great. Secondly, thank you so much on behalf of boxing fans everywhere. That golden era of the fight game seems to have slipped away, and that's sad, and we owe a great debt of gratitude to you for giving us so many wonderful moments in the ring. No Mas airs tonight, 8 Eastern Time on ESPN. You don't have to be a fight fan to enjoy it. All sports fans should check it out. It is riveting. Sugar Ray Leonard. Ray, thanks so much for joining us.